Kapatid, it is with mixed emotions that I come to this gathering marking the relaunching, yung bagong pagtatag of Kapatid, the association organized during martial law to work for the release of political prisoners. I am very happy to be among kindred souls, some of whom I had marched with shoulder to shoulder during the many protest rallies and demonstrations against the Marcos dictatorship. I'm also very happy to see many young people, youth in this gathering, joining us old ones, hindi na millennial, in building a new platform of challenge. Yet, it makes me very sad that an organization such as Kapatid still needs to be revived 40 years after its establishment in 1978. For someone like me, who has seen most, if not all, that have happened, one who has been there, done this, done that, I feel very sad that the purpose which brings us together today also harkens to a dark past that has returned with even bloodier statistics and greater challenges. I was in my 40s when I took up human rights cases. These were part of that tangled web of deception and fraud upon which the martial law regime compromised and damaged our country, our judicial system, and rule of law. Now, 40 years after, the same pattern of fabricated cases marks the same misrule of law that is breeding the continuing phenomenon of political prisoners. The case of my friend Tanada and 535 other political prisoners like him exemplify this persisting trend. Like charging targeted activists with made-up common crimes that are non-bailable, planting firearms and explosives on them to keep them locked in jail indefinitely, presenting witnesses with perjured or false testimonies to establish guilt, delaying or hastening that process to ensure not speedy justice but quick false convictions, and utilizing social engineering from government new portals to printed posters to social media to sow hatred and violence against activists and government critics. My friends, the policy of criminalization of political dissent is a carryover from the martial law years. That this policy has survived into the present speaks volume about the current state of human rights and justice under this administration, which has made trial and conviction by presidential cursing and the presumption of guilt the new normal. This is the situation. This is the challenge that confront Kapatid in its re-establishment. I stand one with Kapatid in support of its objectives. I have long maintained that as long as the roots of the armed conflict are not addressed, this regime will attain neither the peace nor the justice it seeks and which our nation deserves. The political prisoners are a symbol of unpeace and injustice. They must be freed. Also, I believe no climate of impunity can last without let-up. Everything has its end. There is a law of nature. This is a law of nature and a law of God. No matter the results of the recent elections, the masses are neither dumb nor ignorant of reality. Let us hope and pray and work together that the 3 more years remaining in this Duterte administration will not bring more sufferings to our people who have been suffering for too long. Let's all take heart from that rare joint statement just last June 7 of the United Nations Special Rapporteurs, the United Nations highest investigative officials on human rights, who asked the United Nations to conduct an independent investigation on President Duterte's bloody campaign against illegal drugs and on the attacks on human rights defenders, which are believed to be perpetrated by state forces or agencies. It should be incumbent upon the United Nations to include in their investigation the cases of political prisoners who have been or who are being deliberately and wrongfully detained, prosecuted, or convicted as part of the state policy of political persecution. Before I end, my friends, let me share with you a poem that my father, former Senator Lorenzo M. Tanada, required us, his children, to memorize during the darkest days of martial law. The message of this poem is once again very much alive in our hearts and minds. I would like to share some of its words of comfort and hope to Kapatid and the political prisoners and to all of us. Ikaw ba'y nalulugmok, kapatid? Dalangin ko'y ikaw ay mag-aanan. Ito ay lilipas rin. Nasa panganib ka ba, kapatid? Katawirang pari mananaig kumapit sa pag-asa, ito ay lilipas rin. On this note, maraming pong salamat.
Maraming salamat kay former Senator Bobby Tanada. Maraming salamat. At this point naman po, pakinggan naman natin ang isa pang kaanak ng bilagong politikal na kasama natin sa laban ng tiraniya at para sa karapatang pantao,